everyone. Welcome to Multiverse Mondays, a new podcast on the channel, where I grab a co-host. What?
I just said sup.
Yeah. Where I grab a co-host, and we talk about topics of the multiverse. This is my current co-host, Julian. Say hi, Julian.
Hi, Julian.
Thank you. I wonder how many co-hosts are going to do that. Probably all of them. Because it's such a classic.
Joke.
Yeah, it's such an obvious joke. It has to be made. Okay, so today's topic is how many Pokemon do we think could exist? Now, keep in mind, we're not talking about their powers. We're just talking on a design level. How many of these look like a creature that could actually exist?
Yep.
And there's a bonus question that I'm saving for the end of this, after we've decided how many of these could actually exist.
Because this one's gonna take a bit, because there are over 1,000 Pokemon now.
Well, we could just do this as like a multi-part thing, where like each part is a different generation.
Yeah, we can probably do 2 generations per.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna start with Gen 1.
Yep.
Julian here has the national dex pulled up on a screen share, so we can look at these together.
Now, looking at the very start, I don't think the Bulbasaur line could really exist.
No.
The animals don't exist IRL.
Huh?
Plant animals don't exist
Well,
IRL.
you say that, but the Stegosaurus was capable of photosynthesis.
No, that's a common misconception, actually. What it could do is flush its plates with blood to aid in basking. It could not photosynthesize.
Alright, well. Alright, there's also, like... what was it? God, I hope we're a minute in or else I'm gonna get banned for that. Let's see, what was it? I remember hearing that there was some mushroom or whatever that could take over a body. You could say it could be a strain of that.
You're talking about Cordyceps?
Yes,
While
those.
that might work for a Pokemon later in the list.
Yeah.
Bulbasaur is not mushroom-based, so it doesn't work for a Bulbasaur.
That's fair.
So, going to the next line, Charmander, assuming we, take the flame element out, there's no reason that couldn't exist.
Yeah, because Charmander's basically just a little dinosaur.
Yeah, basically a little lizard guy.
Yeah. Now, the bipedal lizard guy, that's where we run into issues. Because we haven't really had bipedal lizards since the dinosaurs.
Some lizards even today can run around on 2 legs for a period if they need to.
Ah. Okay, well then there you go.
Let's see here. The basilisk lizard can do it. The monitor lizards can do it. So yeah, it is possible.
Okay.
And
I think the most impossible part of the Charmander line is Charizard himself.
Yeah, because
that's just a straight up dragon.
Yeah, that Charmander and Charmeleon would exist.
Yeah.
Charizard, not so much.
No.
Alright, moving on to the Squirtle line, I could see Squirtle and Wartortle existing, but not Blastoise.
No.
Because real-life turtles tend not to have artillery rolling out of their shoulders.
No, they really don't. Although, I will admit, this world would be a lot more exciting if they did.
Yes. Let's see here. Caterpie, yeah, that basically exists.
Caterpie is just a regular-ass caterpillar.
Just a bigger one.
Yeah.
Although I don't think a caterpillar that size could exist at this present moment on Earth.
No.
There's just not enough oxygen in the atmosphere for that.
No.
But the basic premise, yes.
Yeah.
And again, the Weedle line...
Same thing.
Yeah. It just turns into a hornet instead of a butterfly.
Yeah.
The Pidgeline, again, it's just...
It's just... it's just... The Pidgeline is just your run-of-the-mill bird.
Like, Pidgeotto... I mean, Pidgeot's a little big, but not to any extreme level.
No. They're just birds.
And the Rattataline, again, rat.
Yeah. Now, it's a weird-looking rat, but it's still a fucking rat.
Raticate, on the other hand...
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's too big for... It's built way differently than any other rodent. I don't think that could work.
No.
Spearow, again, bird.
It's just a bird. It's a bird.
Ekans and Arbok, snake.
I would rather they not exist, but I will acknowledge that they could.
Although Arbok's a little on the big side, but considering how big some real-life snakes get, I'm not going to quibble.
Yeah. And I'm just going to ask that whatever deity decided to create them keeps them the hell away from me.
Mm-hmm. See, Pikachu and Raichu.
No.
Yeah, sorry, we don't have shock rats in real life.
Okay, remember, we're not going by their powers, we're just going by their design.
I know, but in Pikachu and Raichu's case, their powers are kind of intrinsically tied to their design, with the electric cheek pouches, so... It's unavoidable to a degree, kind of like Blastoise was.
Well, we said that we could do Charmander if we just remove the flame, so we're already making little exceptions here.
Yeah. Alright, Sandshrew
Pikachu is basically just a yellow rat.
Yeah. I don't see Raichu existing, though.
No.
That tail.
Yeah.
Anyways, Sandshrew and Sandslash basically exist.
That's those are pretty much real animals.
Yeah, what was it? I'm trying to think of it.
It was like a pangolin?
Pangolin?
Yeah, pangolin.
Yeah, that's it. Let's see here. Nidoran... I could see the Nidorans of the two lines existing.
Yeah.
Not too sure about Nidorina or Nidorino, though.
No.
Definitely not Nido King or Queen, though.
No.
Because that's basically just another type of human.
It's a human with kitty armor.
Yeah, so no.
No.
Clefairy and Clefable.
As much as I would love for Clefairy and Clefable to exist, I don't think it would happen.
No. Vulpix? I don't see any reason why that couldn't exist.
If we're gonna say Charmander can exist, we kind of have to say that Vulpix can exist, because it's just a fox with more tails.
Yeah, so that's not impossible. Although that does bring the question: would an animal with that many extra tails also have more than one petal?
Let's not go there.
Okay. Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff. No.
No, not even close.
No. Balloons don't just come to life in real life.
No.
Zubat, I could see existing because that's basically just a bat.
It's a weird-looking bat, but it's a bat nonetheless.
Golbat, on the other hand, I don't think so.
No, not a chance.
It's too big to get in the air with those types of wings. It just wouldn't work.
Remember, we said the same thing about the bee, but the bee does not give a crap what the human thinks is impossible.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
Oddish, Gloom, and Vileplume, no.
No.
Vileplume, maybe if we go by the whole cordyceps thing?
I don't think so. Again, that's a flower, not a mushroom.
Okay. Paris and Parasect, though.
That could be.
That's basically just a crab with cordyceps.
I do not believe there is any cordyceps species that can infect anything larger than an ant, however, currently. But it's not impossible one could come about.
Yeah, in the future.
Yes. Venonat and Venomoth.
They're basically just bug.
Yes.
Maybe not
Although
Venonat, but Venomoth is basically just a moth. I don't see why it can't.
It's too big. Bugs can't get above a certain size in the current atmosphere we have.
Well, remember, we're going by multiverse, so it's possible that on another Earth with similar but not exact same conditions as ours. Because remember, insects in the dinosaur age were fucking massive.
And if you go back further than the dinosaurs, the Carboniferous, look up something called Arthropleura.
No.
It's basically a human-sized millipede.
Tell you what. After we're done recording this, send me how that's spelled, and I will put that on screen, so other people can look it up.
All right. So yep. All right.
Because
Diglett and Dugtrio.
No.
No. Because you gotta wonder, what part of their body is that?
I would hope it's their head.
Yes. Of course, fan art's done, let's just say another body part is the one sticking out.
I know. Remember, I'm friends with someone who drew for that community.
Yep. Meowth and Persian.
Meowth, no. Persian, yes.
Yeah, because bipedal cats don't exist.
But Persian is basically just a fucking cat.
Yeah, it's basically just a mountain lion.
Yeah. Okay, Psyduck and Golduck.
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe if we were living in the Kyrgyzstan universe.
Yeah.
Because they have those...
In a different Earth, maybe. In our Earth, not a chance.
No. Mankey and Primate. Mankey's basically just a monkey.
Yeah. But what about Primate?
The Primate... I don't think so. That body structure is all wrong.
Yeah. Growlithe and Arcanine. The goodest boys ever.
Design? Yes, I can see that existing.
Design-wise, yes. And I would love one.
Yes. Although, I'm pretty sure Arcanine would... I'm not sure if a dog that size could really exist. It's a little on the big side.
Dude, have you seen a Tibetan Mastiff?
Yeah, but a Arcanine, correct me if I'm wrong, is something on the neighborhood of 7 feet tall.
Yeah, so is a Tibetan Mastiff.
Alright, moving on. I don't think Poliwag could exist.
No.
Poliwhirl? And I just don't think those ones could exist.
No. Abra's just a human.
Yeah, so scrolling on, Machop.
Again, that's just a human.
Yeah. Although Machamp, a 4-armed human? I don't think so.
No.
Alright, the Bellsprout line.
I mean, they're basically just carnivorous plants. We have those.
Yeah, but carnivorous plants, as a rule, are small. They don't get anywhere near that big.
Well, sure, not anymore. Remember, a lot of these threats were much bigger in the dinosaur days.
True,
So I'm going to say in another similar but not exact Earth they could exist, but not our Earth.
No. Yeah. Okay, the Tentacool line. That's basically just a modified jellyfish.
Yeah. But with a face.
Tentacool is a little on the big side, but not impossible.
No.
Especially since, water-bound creatures don't have as many size limits.
No.
Because water supports their bodies.
Yeah.
Alright, the Geodude line. No.
No. We're not getting living rocks.
No. Ponyta and Rapidash.
That's just a horse.
Take out the fire and it's just a horse, so yeah.
Yeah. Now, if Ghost Rider were real and possessed a horse, then there you go.
Yes. Oh wait, Slowpoke, I don't think so.
No.
Skipping right past the Magnemite line, because, well, I suppose someone could make a robot like that, theoretically.
Yeah, Magnemite's basically a robot, and I have seen people build things similar to Magnemite. So I would say Magnemite is not entirely impossible. It just wouldn't be sapient.
But, yeah, it wouldn't really be considered alive.
No.
Alright, so Farfetch'd is basically just duck.
Yeah, that's just a bird.
Yeah. Doduo and Dodrio.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
While some reptiles and amphibians can have multiple heads as a result of a mutation.
You don't normally get it with birds.
No, so no.
And they definitely don't grow another head because of puberty.
Seal and Dugong, those are basically just seals.
Yeah.
Take off the horn, and it's fine.
Keep the horn and you got a narwhal.
Yeah. Skipping right past Grimer and Muck, I'm sorry. Sentient piles of toxic sludge aren't going to come into existence.
No.
Shelter and Cloyster. Again, that's basically just...
Those are just clams. Clams!
Do we just skip right past ghost Pokemon?
Yeah. Whether or not you believe in ghost Pokemon, that's up to you. But personally, I believe in ghosts because I've had some encounters with them. But...
Yeah, so... But again, that wouldn't really be considered a living animal.
Yeah.
So we can skip them on that grounds.
Yeah.
Onyx, again, no.
I don't get why so many people think Onyx is a snake. He's clearly an earthworm.
Yeah. Drowsy and Hypno.
Those are just creepy uncles.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't say uncle because I am an uncle. Those are just creeps at the park.
Yes. Alright, Krabby and Kingler. Again, that's just...
Yeah, those are just crabs. Crab.
And crustaceans are one of the few animals that theoretically don't have a maximum size.
Yeah.
As long as something doesn't kill them.
Yeah. Voltorb and Electrode. They're basically just machine.
Yeah, so again, skip. Execute and Executor.
I don't think we're getting living eggs.
They're actually... There's... The Pokedex entries flip-flop back and forth on whether those are eggs or seeds, so...
Either way.
But I don't think we're getting a walking palm tree either.
No.
Cubone and Marowak.
Those are basically just Joeys.
Yeah, that's just a Joey with a necrophilia fetish.
He doesn't wear it for kinks!
I know. Fetish was probably the wrong word, but yeah. Whatever.
And necrophilia, that was also the wrong word. He wears it out of respect for the fallen.
Alright, moving on. Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. Those are basically just people.
Yeah, those are just weird-looking people.
I don't see Lickitung working either.
No. Coughing and wheezing can just fuck right off.
Yep. Rhyhorn and Rhydon. Nope.
No. Well, Rhyhorn is basically just a rhino. Rhydon, there's just no way.
Yeah, like... Yeah, Chansey?
I wish, but no.
Tangela.
The fuck you... Okay, what's Tangela even supposed to be?
Exactly. It's a big ball of vines, so no.
We've already said Kangaskhan can exist because she's basically just a kangaroo.
Yep.
Just different shape.
And Seadra.
Those are just seahorses.
Just modified seahorses, so yeah.
Yeah.
Goldeen, Seaking, they're just big-ass goldfish.
Yeah. And I've seen some big-ass goldfish.
Staryu and Starmie.
Those are... Okay,
Again,
Staryu is basically just a psychic starfish. Starmie...
Exactly.
I don't think Starmie would happen.
There are starfish varieties with more than 5 limbs. So
I guess.
theoretically, it's possible.
In another Earth similar but not exact.
Yep. Mr. Mime is just that creepy.
Yeah, Mr. Mime is just
clown
a
your parents
Mr. Mime is just a person.
It's just one of those really, really creepy birthday clowns.
Yeah.
Scyther, no.
No.
I'm sorry, you're not getting a person-sized insect.
Jinx is just a racist person.
Yeah. Electabuzz?
Ah, Spud Lightyear. Okay, for anyone wondering the context of that, there's a YouTube channel called Complicated Knots, and she made a spin-off called Complicated Streams, where every weekend she crochets Pokemon. She's working on trying to finish the Gen 1 Pokedex, and every time she crochets one, she lets the chat name it. People started talking about potato batteries, and so I proposed the name Spud Lightyear, and it won. So she now has an Electabuzz plush named Spud Lightyear.
I don't think so.
No.
Magmar, again, no.
No.
Because it's basically living magma.
Yeah.
No. Pinsir. On an Earth similar?
Yeah, on a similar but not exact, maybe.
With way more oxygen.
Yeah. Tauros is just a bull.
Yes.
Magikarp is just a fish. Gyarados is where things get interesting, because he's a straight-up dragon.
There were some interesting sea creatures in eras of Earth's past, so again, similar but different Earths.
Yeah, if the Earth stayed the way it was a long-ass time ago, then maybe we could have had a Gyarados. But as it is right now, no.
Lapras.
Lapras is a dinosaur.
Yeah, it's basically
So
it's a
you could
plesiosaur.
yes it is. So you could argue Lapras could have existed back in the dinosaur days. So again, an Earth that stayed that way and didn't become the way ours is now, Lapras could exist.
Oh, speaking of an Earth like that, scientists theorize that there's one specific kind of dinosaur that if the meteor hadn't struck would have eventually become a human-like dinosaur in terms of intelligence.
Interesting.
Yeah, Troodons, I think?
Problem. I don't know.
Anyways, moving on. Ditto.
No.
Eevee.
Maybe.
That's basically just a modified fox.
Yeah. It's the other evolutions that are probably not going to happen.
No. Like, of the three, Flareon, maybe. That's basically just a fluffier type of Eevee.
Yeah. I actually have a Flareon plush.
Porygon. We already have somewhat sophisticated computer programs, not actually a living animal. Moving on.
Yeah. Ammonite.
Something like that did exist.
Okay, so Ammonite is maybe. In an Earth similar but not exact.
Yep. Kabuto, again, something like that. Actually,
isn't Kabuto basically just a trilobite?
No, I think Kabuto's actually based off a horseshoe crab.
Ah.
Which actually still exists.
Yeah, so Kabuto is basically real.
Yeah. Kabutops, on the other hand, no.
No.
Aerodactyl, that's basically just
that's a dinosaur.
A pteranodon.
Yeah, that's a dinosaur.
So, Snorlax, that's just a guy with obesity.
I wish Snorlax were real. I want to hug him so bad.
Alright, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres.
No.
Like, on an Earth different with a thicker atmosphere, maybe birds like that could exist, but not on ours.
No.
They're just too big.
No.
Dratini, it's basically just a more mystical snake.
See, I always thought Dratini was an eel.
I could see that. And Dragonair's just an adult version.
Yeah.
Dragonite, no.
Yeah, Dragonite's not happening. However, on an Earth similar but not exact, there is a possibility that dragons could exist, and that's a future episode.
Yep. Mew and Mewtwo.
Mew, maybe, because it's just a weird-looking cat. Mewtwo, on the other hand, if humans evolved from cats, then maybe.
And I don't think psychic powers are necessarily impossible.
Again, we're not going by their powers, we're just going by what they look like.
Yeah. You want to do Gen 2 while we're at it? Because this didn't take very long.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do Gen 2.
Alright. Chikorita line. No.
No. Again, it's that sentient plus plant thing that only happens with mushrooms.
Yep. So yeah. Cyndaquil. It's basically a real animal, just has fire on top.
Yeah, so by same logic that we use for Charmander, you could say something of Cyndaquil variety could exist, just without the flames.
It's basically just a big weasel.
Yeah.
Typhlosion, on the other hand, no.
Nah. The Totodile to Feraligatr line, that's basically just a gator.
Yes.
Just with different colors.
Although I have a hard time believing... Like, I could see Crocodile, but not Feraligatr.
Yeah.
Okay, Centric, again, that's basically just like a weasel or something.
Yeah. Furret, that's a ferret. Keep up, people. Hoot Hoot and Noctowl, those are just owls.
I don't see Hoot Hoot existing. That body shape is just too weird.
Yeah.
But Noctowl, that's just an owl.
Yeah, that's just a straight up owl.
Okay, Ladybug and Ledian. The same sort of alternate Earth with more oxygen.
And another Earth, those could exist, because Ladybug is basically just a ladybug that looks slightly different.
Yeah, and is much bigger.
Yeah.
Alright, then Spinarak and Ariados. Again, alternate Earth, more oxygen.
Yeah. What about Crobat?
No.
Chinchou?
I don't think any animal has ever existed that has 4 wings instead of legs, so no.
Chinchou and Lantern?
I don't see Chinchou existing, but Lantern's possible.
Lantern's basically just an anglerfish.
Yep.
Pichu? No.
Cleffa, Igglybuff? No.
I wish.
Togepi? Honestly, you take away the eggshell, maybe.
Maybe. Togetic, on the other hand?
No.
Natu and Xatu?
No.
I'm not even sure what they're supposed to be.
I know, right?
Mareep is basically just a sheep.
Yeah. But Flaffy and Ampharos, I don't think so.
No. Bellossom, again, no.
Morel. I don't think so.
I feel like the only thing preventing Marill is the tail.
Yeah, I can see that, but Azumarill, on the other hand, that looks like 2 animals mashed together. I don't think so.
And again, it's the tail.
Mm-hmm.
It's that big floofball at the end of the tail.
Yeah.
You don't see that.
Sudowoodo, no.
Politoed, no. Well, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Hoppip, again, no. Apom, that's basically just a monkey.
That's a monkey with an extra hand.
Yeah, so odd, but not impossible.
So that's I'm gonna put Apom under the category of another Earth, where like maybe the evolution circumstances were just slightly different. That it needed a fifth, like a monkey needed a third hand, and it just grew on the tail instead of growing extra arms.
Yep. Sunkern and Sunflora, no.
They're just plants.
Yep. That actually basically existed, actually.
Yeah.
The Griffinfly.
Wooper is just an axolotl.
Yeah. Quagsire, no.
No. Espeon looks viable.
Yeah, so does Umbreon, to be honest.
Yeah.
They're just Modified.
Yeah.
Murkrow. Again,
That's a bird with a
just
hat.
crow. Yeah.
Slowking, no.
No.
Misdreavus.
Because we said we disqualify ghosts.
Yeah. Wobbuffet.
And
I don't think
as far
Wobbuffet would
as
exist.
unknown, the alphabet isn't going to come to life.
No. I don't think Wobbuffet could exist.
No.
Girafarig is basically just a baby giraffe.
Yeah, but that tail.
Okay, similar but not exact.
Yeah.
Pine cones aren't gonna become sapient.
Actually, that's more based off a bagworm, not a pine cone.
I don't know what a bagworm is.
I'd have to look it up. I just know that's what it's actually based on.
Okay, well then we can say that's fair. Forretress.
No.
Dunsparce.
Dunsparce. I don't think so.
I feel like something similar to it could exist, but not that exactly.
No. Gligar. I don't think so.
No. Steelix, we already kind of disqualified Steelix.
Yep.
Snubbull. That's just a bulldog.
Yep.
Just pink.
Granbull. No. Quillfish. Just a pufferfish.
Yeah.
Scizor. No.
Shuckle is basically just a weird looking turtle.
Yep. Heracross. Different Earth, more oxygen.
Yeah.
Sneasel.
No.
No.
I'm gonna say no to Sneasel. Teddy Ursa is basically just the living teddy bear.
It's more like just a baby bear.
Yeah.
And Ursa Ring's the adult.
Yeah, we already have bears. We just don't have them that look like that.
Yeah. Slugma and Magcargo, no.
Those are just living lava.
Swinub. Honestly, that's pretty similar to a lot of animals, so I'll say yes.
Yeah. Piloswine.
There are no extant animals that look like that, but some in the Ice Age might have.
Yeah.
Corsola. No. Although I suppose in a similar but different Earth.
Yeah, alternate Earth, it could.
Because it's basically a living coral colony that's more advanced. So.
And coral is technically alive.
Yes. Remoraid and Octillery. That's a fish and an octopus.
Yeah. Delibird. That's just a bird with Santa's bag.
Yeah, no. Mantine. That's just a manta ray slightly modified.
Yeah. Skarmory is a metal bird.
No. Just no.
Maybe a robot of it.
Yes, but not as a living thing.
Not as organic.
Yeah. Houndour and Houndoom. Again.
Those are dogs.
Yes.
Kingdra. Isn't that another seahorse?
Yeah, that's basically just a much bigger seahorse.
Yeah.
Different ocean conditions.
Fampi and Donphan. Those are elephants.
Yes. Porygon 2. Computer program, moving on.
Yeah. Stantler. That's just a deer.
Yes. Smeargle.
Scroll
Alternate
up.
monkey. Irogue and Hitmontop. Again, those are basically people.
Those are people. Smoochum. That's just another creep at the park.
Yeah. Although, it's one of those creepy twin people.
Yeah.
Allocated Magby. No.
Meltank is just a cow.
Yes. Blissey. Wish it was real, but no.
We all wish Blissey was real.
Raikou, Entei, and Suicune.
I don't think so.
I could see Raikou maybe? As it's the most realistic. It's basically like a modified saber-toothed tiger.
True. Okay, so we're gonna say Entei could exist in the past of another Earth.
Yes. Suicune, on the other hand, I don't see.
No.
Just those ribbons.
Yeah.
Take the ribbons off and maybe.
The Larvitar line is basically just bug dinosaur.
Yeah, but they're rock. I don't think so. Especially It's a pupitar.
Yeah, but I know they're rock type, but they're not living rocks.
Well, I could see Larvitar and Tyranitar existing in an alternate Earth, but not pupitar.
Yeah, because Tyranitar is basically just a dinosaur.
Yeah, okay. Lugia and Ho-Oh.
Ho-Oh, maybe. Lugia, no.
Yeah, like, a lot
Ho-Oh
of
is just a fancy bird.
Yeah, and a lot of places have phoenix mythology, so...
Yeah.
It's theoretically possible in an alternate Earth.
Yeah.
Celebi.
No.
No. You want to do Gen 3, or...?
We can do Gen 3 another time.
Alright, so the Tricoline...
Now, here comes the bonus question.
Okay.
Of the ones that we think could exist, how likely do you think all of those could coexist in the same environment?
Okay. A lot of them would be water-bound.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure those would be existing in the same environment as the others.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I mean more is, like, on the same planet.
Not at the same time.
Yeah, no.
But given two conflicting of
given enough millennia, you could argue they've all existed on the same planet.
Yes, with different physics to allow for some of the more extreme possibles.
Yeah. Kind of like how we don't still have dinosaurs today, but we're on the same planet as them. You could argue that a good number of these could exist on the same planet, just in different time periods, and not on an Earth exactly the same as ours.
Yeah.
So, Pokemon. Will it multiverse? So far, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to do it for this episode of Multiverse Mondays.
All right.
Julian, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye to the people.
Thank you. And I will see you guys whenever the next video is. Probably Wednesday. Or tomorrow, depending on when this comes up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See ya.